Now, recently I've been in bed all day, sleeping all day, binging anime, just your typical bad life habits. Now, one might think I'm depressed, and I can't necessarily guarantee that I'm not, but in reality, I just put off all my bad life habits until after the semester ended. But one thing has stayed constant, and that is binging anime. Now, first I'm going to break down how those numbers from the thumbnail more or less come together. First of all, the last semester lasted around 4 months, 30 days a month more or less, 120 days total. I did around 5 hours of studying a day, which comes out to a total of around 600 total hours of studying. And then I watched around 2.5 hours of anime a day, which comes out to a total of around 300 hours. Now, I did finish some really big hitters like Hunter x Hunter, Naruto, Attack on Titan, some pretty long shows, and after looking on my anime list, it comes out to around a total of 13 total days of anime watched. And I did all of that while managing to keep a 4.0 cumulative GPA. So now I'm going to be going over my ultra secret, soon to be not so secret, sexy jutsu better than pomodoro technique, Animedoro, which I do in conjunction with my secret technique to never procrastinate, which I call the shitty draft. Now, the traditional pomodoro is a good study technique where you study for around 25 minutes without any distractions and then take a 5-minute break, and this comes out to one cycle. Now, after 4 cycles, instead of taking a 5-minute break, you take an extended 20 to 30 minute long break. Now, the traditional pomodoro also has longer variations, such as the 50-10 pomodoro, where you work for 50 minutes and then take a 10-minute break. But now let's talk about the Animedoro. In the Animedoro, you do around 40 to 60 minutes of work and follow that up with an episode of anime, with the intro and the end theme skipped. Yeah, I know some people hate that, but for most animes, this cuts down the time to only around 19 minutes an episode. Now, I do this with anime, but anything with around 20-minute long episodes works. Like, you can replace anime with sitcoms like The Office or Friends. Now, it's ideal to start a timer for 60 minutes, but let the natural flow of when your work ends decide when you stop past 40 minutes. For example, if finishing your first assignment only takes you 30 minutes, well, you should probably start a second assignment that might take you up to 50 or 60 minutes. But if finishing your first assignment only takes you 45 minutes, well, then it's okay to take your break there. Now, it's important to let the natural flow of assignments or the natural break between sections that you're going over in your notes dictate when you will stop between 40 and 60 minutes. I'm now going to attempt to make an argument for why Animedoro is the most superior technique, and I'll do so by comparing it to Pomodoro. Now let's talk about the 2 principles that make Pomodoro so powerful, the 25-minute attention span and the 5-minute break. First, the work period for Pomodoro is only around 25 minutes because for most people, you only have a good attention span for around 25 minutes, meaning you can only perform at an optimal level for around 25 minutes. The idea of rewarding yourself states that in order to incentivize yourself to keep doing work, it's important to reward yourself after you do some work. In the case of the Pomodoro, that 5-minute break is your reward. But the thing is, I ain't no saint, I ain't no robot. It takes me a couple of minutes to even be able to start getting into work mode and get focused by the time I start that Pomodoro. That already cuts down that 25 minutes into maybe like 22, 21 minutes before I'm starting to work pretty well, pretty optimally. And the thing is, 25 minutes isn't even that much time to complete any work. So by the time you get settled down, get focused, start doing your work, you've maybe only finished one complex physics problem or something like that. And then it's already time for you to take that mandatory break. Also, for me, that 5 minutes is really just not that rewarding of a reward to give yourself for doing 25 minutes of work. For example, if you go on YouTube, you look up Pomodoro technique and watch people study for 25 minutes and then give themselves a 5-minute break, take a look at what they do in that 5-minute break. They eat some almonds, eat a granola bar, drink some kombucha, stroke their laptop cases. For some reason, they all love doing that, or click on their mice a lot. I don't know. They don't really do anything during that break. You can't. That 5 minutes really isn't enough time for you to do anything, and it's not that satisfying. So if you've ever done intervals on a track where you just run really fast for one lap and then take a 30-second break and then run really fast for another lap, take another 30-second break, that's what the Pomodoro feels like to me. It really feels like you're trying to do a sprint workout, and for me, it just kind of burns me out. Now, the Animedoro fixes all these problems because 1, the 40 to 60 minute time frame of doing work follows the flow of your work more naturally. You have a few minutes to get refocused, and there's no time wasted involved from finishing an assignment 2 to 3 minutes too early, and you don't have to half-ass the beginning of a new assignment to fill any time requirements. And the good thing is, for longer assignments, it also doesn't ruin your flow by breaking your momentum. And my favorite part is, the reward is actually very satisfying. You're not doing 25 minutes of work just to eat a freaking granola bar, right? You actually get to watch an entire episode of anime, and that break time is very specific and the exact same amount of time every single time, between 19 and 20 minutes. Now, if you've ever watched an episode of anime, you probably know that the hardest part of the Animedoro is just not clicking on the next episode. But if you're able to have the self-control and time management to just watch one episode at a time, actually having that suspense and wanting to know what happens in the next episode can be a very strong motivator to get you to do that next 40 to 60 minutes of work. You see, the thing is, for me, with this technique, it doesn't feel like I'm doing a workout or doing a sprint when I'm studying. It just feels like I'm casually doing some work and then casually watching some anime, which is the goal, right? You keep your life simple and not too stressful. Well, at this point, you might be like, well, Josh, it seems like you're getting a lot more work done with Pomodoro. It's like 25-minute work, 5-minute break, while the Animedoro is 40 to 60-minute work, 20-minute break. Something doesn't seem right, right? Well, Karen, calm down. First of all, the Animedoro doesn't have an extended break after 4 cycles, which means if you do the math and you take the work to break ratio and look at it pretty closely, the normal Pomodoro actually has a work to break ratio of 2.86 to 1, while the Animedoro has a work to break ratio of anywhere between 2 to 1 to 3 to 1. So in theory, the Animedoro, sometimes you can be getting more work done than Pomodoro. But also, I want to mention something. My goal with Animedoro has never to be like a productivity god. And just in general, my goal when living life in college isn't to be a productivity god. I just want to enjoy my time there, right? Now, even though sometimes with the Animedoro, the work to break ratio is a little bit worse, in the end, I'm enjoying the studying process, and it doesn't make me want to just die after a week of studying, It really helps me. Also, with Animedoro, you're not getting cut off in the middle of your work, and you also have more relaxing breaks, so the next time you actually start doing your work, you don't feel like you're already exhausted. And I actually do feel like I'm a lot more productive with Animedoro because in some sense it helps you to stop with your procrastinating as much. I feel motivated to do work even on days where I only have a little bit of work, and I don't put that work off for other days just because I know that I can adjust that Animedoro ratio. I can do slightly less work for every time I have a break with Animedoro, and I know that I don't have to be super rigid like in Pomodoro where I have to do that amount of work and then take that break. Knowing that at times I can be more relaxed and do work but still watch a lot of anime allows me to make studying feel like it's not that much of a chore. Now, one of the biggest critiques for a lot of people of having a slightly longer style Pomodoro style thing is just the fact that it's harder to stay focused for that. It's harder to maintain focus for that extended period of time, and I do have to say it does take some practice. But that's why I try to do everything I can to minimize the distractions. For example, I like to go into quiet study rooms and find individual tables so I can have my own workspace. And next, I found that social media has been super distracting for me, at least. A lot of times I really feel tempted to check my phone and things. So it's important to put your phone really far away from you, but at the same time, I even bought a watch just so I didn't have excuses to check my phone and be like, oh, I'm trying to check the time or something. And I also like to listen to Studio Ghibli soundtracks just to keep me focused. Now, most of my time doing Animedoro, I'm actually doing something called the shitty draft. Now, what the shitty draft is have you ever written an essay? Have you ever had to write an essay and you're like, oh, so much work, right? But I'll write the first paragraph today, but oh, it's gonna be so much work because I have to find all the right wording, make sure that the intro is good and stuff. Well, that's where the shitty draft comes into play. The goal of the shitty draft is not to do the best quality work, it's just to brute force us through as much of that work as possible and to just do a very mediocre, half-assed job, but for as much work as possible. If you have to do a homework that involves doing problems, it just means you write down whatever you think the most intuitive answer is. Now, the reason the shitty draft helps you to not procrastinate as much is just because normally the easier the work feels to you, the more likely you won't procrastinate on it. It's only on like really hard assignments that you want to procrastinate because you're like, oh, it's so hard, I don't want to start. Because of the shitty draft, I rarely feel as though like assignments are like, oh, super hard, because I'm like, you know what, I'll just do a half-assed job today and then I'll just fix it tomorrow. And the shitty draft, if you think about it, is really equivalent to like the quality of assignment you'd do if like the assignment was due in 30 minutes and you had to bang something out, you know what I mean? But now one of the biggest benefits of the shitty draft is the second time around when you're coming back to do work for the second time, because we rarely finish work in just one sitting, right? The second time around, mentally you're thinking, oh, all I need to do is edit this piece of work. I don't have to like start over and do something extra, you know what I mean? I don't have to start from scratch and write a second paragraph. For example, it's not like, oh, I have to write the entire second half of this essay. It's just like, oh, I need to edit the rest of this essay, you know what I mean? And the thing that really surprised me is like sometimes you might be really surprised with like the quality of your low quality work, right? So a lot of times I find that even though I do a shitty draft, when I come back to it, there's not actually that much that you would need to fix, right? Now, for example, if the shitty draft is the quality of something that could get you like a 60, just a few tweaks can actually bring that to something that's A quality. Now, with the Animedoro, I've legit been able to comfortably do work from like 5 p.m. to 1 a.m., not procrastinate, and then after that, at night, I watch like another 1 to 2 episodes of anime, and at the end of the entire process, I don't even feel that tired. Now, you see, a lot of people like think about their schedules in these really extreme ways, like the week before a test, I'm gonna cram 24/7, and then like the day after the test, I'm gonna binge watch for 3 nights straight, right? Just to make up for that time that I missed not relaxing that previous week. First of all, that's a recipe to burn out, my guy. But also, like, you never hear anyone be like, oh, I'm gonna run a marathon the first day of the month, that way I won't have to run again the rest of the week, right? Animedoro serves as this really awesome bridge to bridge like relaxing and actually doing work. That way at the end of the process, you do a lot, you get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and you don't even feel that tired. Now, personally, I like alone time a lot, so I'm okay with just like sitting down and doing Animedoro for like 8 hours a day, then doing some exercise, eating some food I like, you know, doing some extracurriculars, and only really hanging out with friends like once a week or something like that. But you see, if that's not the type of person you are, you might prefer Pomodoro because it might give you some more flexibility. But given my personality type, which is like pretty calm, hobo chic, like sleepy dude who just like loves taking naps and stuff, it fits me perfectly. And once again, I'm not necessarily concerned with being a productivity god. I just want to enjoy my time and still get a lot of work done. So if that sounds good to you, well, it can't hurt to give Animedoro a try, right? Anyways, thanks for watching this video on my secret study strategy. Hope you liked it, and if you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Peace. Now, it's important to let the natural flow of assignments or the natural breaks between the sections of notes that you're looking at dictate how long between 40. Now, it's important to let the natural flow of your assignments and the Now, it's important to let the natural flow of your assignments or the natural breaks in between the sections of notes you're going over. Now, it's important to let the natural flow of assignments or the natural breaks in between the sections that you're going over dictate how long between 40 and 60 minutes you're going to spend that. Now, it's important to let the natural flow of assignments or the natural break between sections dictate how long between 40